Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for week 2 in our January 2026 Wellness Wednesday session. I'm Carly with the Washington State EAP, and I am really glad that you're here today. So, to acknowledge this, I know that the title of this practice can sound a little startling at first, but I promise that the heart of it is incredibly warm and life affirming. So, Swedish death cleaning, or döstädning, is a compassionate approach to simplifying your space so that your life feels lighter, clearer, and more intentional. This practice isn't about morbidity or preparing for something grim. It's about easing mental load, reducing stress, and creating a home or workspace that supports you rather than overwhelms you. Many people find that this process helps them reconnect with joy, gratitude, and the things that truly matter. Throughout this session, I'll walk you through the meaning behind this tradition, how it supports emotional well being, and how you can approach it in a gentle, sustainable way that fits your life and personality. So let's get started. Swedish death cleaning is essentially a mindful process of letting go of possessions that no longer serve you while keeping the things that truly add value or meaning. It's the opposite of a frantic New Year decluttering or the dump everything out and start over mentality. Instead, it's slow, reflective, and rooted in self kindness. In today's session, we'll explore the philosophy behind the practice, why it's emotionally grounding, and how you can use it to create clarity in your physical space and in your inner world. We'll also talk about some common misconceptions and how to approach the emotional layers that come with letting go. By the end of our time together, you should have a simple framework to begin your own gentle cleansing process, one small step at a time, without pressure or perfection. Swedish death cleaning, or as I said, döstädning, is a cultural practice from Sweden that blends practicality with compassion. It encourages people to gradually sort through their belongings over time so they're surrounded only by what they love, use, or want to leave behind someday. And its purpose is twofold: to bring clarity and lightness to your own life and to ease the future burden on loved ones. Despite the name, this practice isn't about anticipating death. It's about mindful living, choosing what stays, what goes, and how your physical environment reflects who you are now, not who you were years ago. It's a form of self care that acknowledges the emotional weight objects can carry. Think of it as designing your environment to support your well being, spark joy, and free up mental space for what truly matters in the year ahead. At its core, Swedish death cleaning is an act of kindness, both for yourself and the people around you. By gradually releasing items you no longer need, you reduce physical clutter and also the emotional pressure that clutter creates. And because this practice is intentionally slow, it's less overwhelming than traditional decluttering efforts. Many people describe the process as clarifying or even healing. As you sort through objects, you reconnect with memories, values, and priorities. You begin to ask meaningful questions such as: does this still represent me? Does this support my life now? Is this something I want to carry forward into a new year? By letting go with intention, you make room for calm, clarity, and space, both literal and emotional. We can kind of think of this as a gift you give to your future self. Our physical spaces have a profound impact on our mental and emotional well being. Clutter increases cognitive load, makes decision making harder, and creates a sense of background stress, even when we're not consciously aware of it. When your environment feels chaotic, your inner world often does too. Swedish death cleaning helps reverse that by stripping away the noise and leaving only what feels meaningful or helpful. Less clutter means fewer micro decisions, fewer stress triggers, and more mental bandwidth for the things you care about. Some people describe feeling lighter, more grounded, or more at peace after cleaning even a small drawer or shelf. This is especially helpful at the start of a year when many people crave a fresh start but don't want to turn their life upside down. Small intentional steps can restore a sense of control and calm. Because of its name, many people misunderstand this practice. One misconception is that Swedish death cleaning is morbid or depressing, but people who engage in it often describe it as uplifting and refreshing. Another misconception is that it's the same as minimalism, and it's not. Minimalism focuses on owning as little as possible. Death cleaning focuses on owning what is meaningful. Another common myth is that you must get rid of everything sentimental. In reality, you just keep the items that genuinely matter. This process helps distinguish between objects you treasure and objects you've kept out of guilt, obligation, or even habit. Finally, Swedish death cleaning is not about getting it all done at once. It's a slow, flexible, compassionate process that meets you where you are. When deciding what to keep, think about items that reflect your identity, values, or current stage of life. Keep things that truly support your routines or bring you joy. Let go of duplicates, broken items, outdated possessions, or things you've kept for reasons that no longer feel aligned. One helpful question is, would I want someone else to have to deal with this item later? If the answer is no, it might be something to release or donate. Another question is, does this item add to my life or does it take energy away from it? The goal with all of this isn't to be ruthless, it's just to be honest with ourselves. You're curating your environment with clarity and care. Objects carry stories, and sometimes those stories are heavy. You might hold on to things because they were gifts, because you spent money on them, or because they remind you of a past version of yourself. Swedish death cleaning invites you to approach these emotions gently and without judgment. Instead of forcing yourself to purge, notice what feelings come up: guilt, nostalgia, sadness, gratitude, or even relief. These emotions are normal. The goal is not to erase them, but to acknowledge them. You can honor what an item meant without needing to keep it forever. This emotional layer is why the process is gradual. You give yourself time to feel, to reflect, and to let go at a pace that feels safe for you. The best way to begin Swedish death cleaning is to start small. Choose a category, not a whole room. So something like books, clothes, kitchen tools, or digital files. Starting with manageable areas builds confidence and helps you avoid overwhelm. As you sort, make three piles: keep, donate, and uncertain. The uncertain pile gives you permission to revisit items without forcing a decision in the moment. And importantly, celebrate each area you complete: a drawer, a shelf, a handful of old paperwork, because progress builds momentum. Above all, move slowly. You're not trying to finish a project. You are creating a supportive environment, one thoughtful choice at a time. Part of Swedish death cleaning involves communication with loved ones, especially when you're deciding what to keep, donate, or pass down. And these conversations don't have to be heavy. They can be meaningful opportunities to share the stories behind your belongings, the items you'd love to pass on, or the memories tied to certain objects. You can also ask others what items of yours they truly value, which can lead to some surprising and heartfelt moments. This process helps ensure that things with emotional significance find a good home without placing unwanted responsibility on others. These conversations deepen connection and help clarify what truly matters to you. And it's important to remember that Swedish death cleaning isn't a one-day project. It is a mindset. Once you begin, you may find yourself naturally maintaining the process over time. A few minutes here and there can make a meaningful difference. You might decide to keep surfaces clearer, delete old digital clutter regularly, or revisit sentimental items once a season. You may become more intentional about what you bring into your home or even your workplace. By integrating the practice into your everyday life, your environment remains aligned with your needs, your values, and your energy without requiring dramatic effort. So, time for a reflection. Let's think about these simple prompts. If you're watching the recording for this, Go ahead and take the time to pause and reflect as much as you need and then come back to the video. But here's some questions to ask ourselves. What is something you'd like to gently release in 2026? What items or spaces in your home or office feel heavy or overwhelming? What categories feel easiest to begin with? And what would it feel like to have more space and clarity? And now, these are questions you don't need to answer all at once. Even just identifying the feeling you want more of, peace, ease, clarity, is enough to guide your next step. So let's look at a few everyday examples. A workplace example might include clearing out old emails, outdated folders, or paperwork. This alone can dramatically reduce stress and help you feel more organized. A personal example might be sorting through clothes you no longer wear or releasing items associated with an old stage of life. How about a relational example, which could involve discussing heirlooms or sentimental items with family, deciding what you want to keep and what future gifts you want to pass on? These small steps ripple into emotional clarity, and each example shows that Swedish death cleaning is flexible and adapts to your lifestyle, your needs, and your emotional capacity. The heart of Swedish death cleaning is simplicity with compassion. You're not striving for minimalism or perfection. You're creating clarity and ease. You get to decide what matters. You get to decide what stays. Small steps lead to meaningful emotional relief. Letting go doesn't erase memories. It simply reduces the weight of what you no longer need. The process becomes a gift to yourself and a loving gesture toward others. When you approach this practice gently, it becomes less about cleaning and more about creating space for the life you want to live. Thank you so much for joining me for this session. I hope the idea of Swedish death cleaning feels a little softer now and maybe even comforting. If you're using a worksheet or a piece of paper to keep track of the questions that you were asking yourself, feel free to take that time to make deeper notes, to list a few categories you'd like to explore, or take the time to write about a lighter environment and how it might support your well-being this year. If you're watching this recording, I leave you with this call to action. Take one moment to choose a small, gentle step you can begin this week. Again, thank you for being here and bringing such openness to an unexpectedly beautiful practice.